First of all, thanks very much for coming on today, Calli. Could you start off just by giving us some high-level context about how DOMO goes to market and your focus in the organization?
So I'm an ADM manager, account development manager here at DOMO, and we have inbound and outbound teams. And our outbound team, about a year and a half ago, was doing a very high volume of email, and that email volume was putting us at risk for winding up in the spam blockers and putting our whole entire domain at jeopardy. And we recognize that those risks were increasing as email providers were cracking down on high volume. So we recognized that we needed to do a combination of lowering the volume of our email, but doing everything that we could to protect domo.com's email domain. And that started a process of looking at what we needed to do to be good stewards of the domain for the entire company. I know the last thing we wanted was an executive being blocked from emailing a customer because we'd been reckless in terms of how we were utilizing our email. And so one of our ADMs was at a show and ran into someone at Allegrow, and when he came back and asked if I would be interested in taking a meeting, it was something that was very top of mind for me and a big concern. And so that we set up that first meeting, and we are very happy that we purchased Allegrow. It's been something that a high level of peace of mind that we're doing everything that we can to protect our email domain. When we implemented Allegrow, initially our deliverability was quite a bit lower, and we've steadily seen that deliverability move up, and now we've been steadily in the mid-90s in terms of our deliverability. And it's a really good training tool for us to be aware of who might be doing things that are really adverse to the success that we want to see as a company.
When you were going through that process of, you're aware of some of the changes in the market that email providers were making that surfaced a bit more risk when it came to deliverability. Was there also a background of anecdotal, issues that people were coming across already that suggested, look, this might be something we're already kind of getting to the stage where we're maybe not on the right side of these filters?
It was very common for an ADM to be frustrated that they weren't able to, say, send a calendar invite to a prospect that we were already engaged with. And that prospect would say, I just haven't received your email, because we were getting caught up in that spam blocker of that account. And I actually started in the ADM role before I was promoted to a leadership position, and that was something that I experienced as an ADM. And in this past, year plus that we've been using Allegrow, I just don't hear that as a concern anymore.
It's interesting that the calendar invite is a specific one that you called out. So it's those critical points in the sales process where the hard work has probably been done in a long sales cycle 3 months ago. But in your case, on the calendar invite, it's the prospecting work or the marketing work or the qualification work that's been done. And then the last point where that person would turn into a sales qualified lead, you do not want them to slip through the cracks. It almost makes all the prospecting work that we're doing go to waste if you can't have that very last line of communication to convert them into an opportunity.
It's definitely not a great buyer experience when our communication isn't making it to them. And so, being able to land in their inbox is mission critical.
Yeah, absolutely. We feel the same. I mean, email deliverability is a core part of the communication stack, not just the sales and marketing stack, and that makes a ton of sense. Can you give us a little bit of an overview on some of the results that you've seen using Allegrow across the team to build pipeline?
I don't have the numbers, but it's literally staggering how many emails have been caught in the safety net. And those are emails that would diminish our domain reputation had they had a chance to make it out. So it means that when we are prospecting, we're actually reaching the people who are available, who are open. We're not wasting our time with people that are kind of low probability prospects. As for most teams, we want to spend our time and energy and resources on the people that, are worth that effort. And if
Yeah.
somebody is very likely to mark something as spam, if they're no longer at the company, all of those different things are just wasted effort. So being able to know, that the focus on the prospects that are actually receiving emails and are open to opening an email, more likely to engage with us. All of that makes certain that we're spending our time and energy on the prospect that is worth the effort.
To give a little context on the scale that we got to there, we've been around 11 months into the process since implementation at this point, and there's been 75,000 bad contacts that have been prevented from getting prospected. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts from a leadership perspective, because a lot of the time we're focused on the metrics of the team. We're thinking about how many calls did we make? How many emails did we make? How many leads did we generate? Most people don't think very often about how many emails did we not do over a period of time. And that sounds like quite a lot. So, what would you say to someone if they were to say, well, look, that sounds like a negative rather than a positive. I want to send more emails so we generate more leads.
You want to spend your time and resources on the prospect that is worth that effort. And there's an adage in sales that a fast no is better than, a kind of a long dragged out no.
Yeah.
And so, when we're trying to reach someone who's no longer at the company or who never opens emails and is very inclined to mark something as spam, we're just wasting our time and effort. And I would rather focus our time and energy on that prospect that's going to be engaging, that really is there at the company and will engage with our email, and who we have a chance at winning with. We have limited time and ability to go after. I want to go after the lowest lying fruit.
So it's not a trade-off between do the activity or don't do the activity. It's really, what am I going to prioritize in the limited amount of time I have? Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to me.
On a positive, Allegrow has helped us to make a cultural shift from high volume email down to common sense, effort in terms of who is most worth our time and resources, and being a lot more strategic and tactical in terms of who we're going to go after.
That makes a ton of sense. Are you able to share any of the high-level details around how that's translated to general pipeline results for you and your teams so far?
So, as we've made the shift, one of the more important things that's happened as we've shifted away from high volume and being a lot more strategic is that we're seeing an increase in our conversion from stage 1 to stage 2. So that we're getting away from that high volume of low quality opportunities. And so as we've done that, over the past year, we've seen a shift of our S1 to S2 conversion go up 10 percentage points.
That's great to hear. And as a little bit of context, the reps really are the people that take the credit for that, not just us. We're just helping them be the best they can there, is my perspective on it. Can you help us understand, if someone isn't familiar with those stages of the sales process, what does S1 versus S2 mean to an outsider?
Yeah. So a stage 1 is the very beginning of an opportunity. We go from a lead, either a sales generated lead or a marketing generated lead or an MQL. And when we get that person to agree to a discovery call, that prospect we would just say, we're going to have an introductory call and more about the problems you're trying to solve, and then talk a little bit about how DOMO might be able to help. So that initial discovery call is a stage 1 for us. Then a stage 2 would be a full demo. Our stage 1 to stage 2 has increased 10 percentage points over the past year on the teams that are using Allegrow, and Allegrow maybe doesn't take full credit. We can't give you full credit for it, but it has been part of that cultural shift of we're going to prioritize quality over volume.
Mhm.
And that's something that shift began as we shifted and implemented Allegrow.
That makes a ton of sense, and thanks very much for the background there. Um, how was the implementation process and just generally working with Allegro as a customer success team for you to date?
Absolutely amazing. You guys are very attentive to, our needs. We felt like we've had great cooperation. Our company has some unique ways that we work in terms of sales, and Allegro has bent over backward to fit Allegrow to our sales process versus the other way around. And we've also felt like we've had a partner that consults with us, helps us to understand what best practices look like, making those recommendations along the way of what we should be doing to ensure that we're protecting our email domain, and training our team around best practices, what good volume looks like. So all of that kind of consultative work came in addition to the tool that has really been effective for us.
That's
So,
awesome. Thank you so much. That's all the questions that I had for today. I just really appreciate your time and thanks for taking us through the use case so far. We're super, excited and happy to have you as a customer and be working together next year too.
well, we're very excited to continue to move forward and use Allegro. It's a key part of our strategy.
Thank you.